people, black people, Haitians.
You're not an Israelite.
I just disagree.
You're an Irish Edomite.
I'm definitely not an Edomite.
Definitely are.
I'm definitely not an Edomite. No, I'm an Irish man. I'm an Israelite.
Okay. All right. Well, you can be whatever you want to be in your mind. In your mind, you can be whatever you want to be, but in reality, you're not.
I'm excited to be out here with you guys tonight. I'm very excited. I've been pumped on this for a while.
Wow. Why are you so excited?
When I first talked to the ISUCI or whatever it is, they talked to me about how Irish people are Israelites as well. They literally checked my birth certificate before I could even buy this.
Who checked your blood? Who checked?
The IUCIC.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what that is.
The Israelite Universal IUIC.
Oh, they told you was Israelite.
Yes, I showed them my birth certificate.
Now it all
I showed them
makes
photos
sense.
of my great. Then when I talked to Gadai and he told me the history of Israelites, I got out of my mind excited. I said, that's literally the story of my people as well. When I heard the story of being brought over for slavery and being oppressed by imperialist powers, I said, that's the story of Irish people. And I got out of my mind excited because when I learned about the core of what the ISUPK teaches, I've never related more. I said, this is an anti-imperialist, anti-oppression movement. That's kind of it.
But the craziest part about it is the anti-imperialist, anti-oppression movement is against all of the oppressors.
Yes, sir.
And guess what? The thing that happened to you was white-on-white violence.
Unfortunately true.
The thing that happened to us was everybody against us.
It's the same with the Irish.
It's absolutely not the same. Because white people, the Irish, oppress black people. You know, the police station, you know, the whole police force, it was started by the Irish. Oh, I know.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. If an Irish person's a police, it's the same thing as another black
Yeah, but
Israelite.
what I'm saying is, it's a system of oppression that's passed down,
Yes, sir.
and we have never been the oppressors.
Yes, sir.
So that's why we deserve to be the rulers.
There have been people within our groups that have been the oppressors.
Oh, absolutely.
But as Irish
We call
people
those
and
people
Israelites,
sellouts.
exactly.
We call them sellouts.
They're traitors.
Yeah. White man got his name, got Irish nation on the flyer. He said he got that from somebody.
On Congress and 4th.
He trying to rewrite history in our face with our flyers. White man.
But we're not going to let that happen.
Damn right.
Absolutely.
We do it like this. We ain't got to do it like that. We want to let it just blow in the wind.
You got to say, let go and let God, you know?
All praise.
Shalom, shalom. Israel, first and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, Hashem, Yahawashi, Hashem, Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the mighty Akim, Wahatim, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this final captivity. This brother Kawakab coming at you with no lesson. And you know, this video, it's so childish and immature because the dude is just it's like so abundantly clear that he just does not like him simply because he looks like a so-called white person. Now, I'm not saying with absolute certainty that this guy on the screen is an Israelite, but at the same time, we have to be spiritual and follow what the scriptures actually say, because the fact that this is happening, it's so... Let me get this. Hold on. 1 John 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of Yahweh, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. All right. So basically, this is the thing that we have to do, where we have to actually try the spirits. See, is this the spirit of Yahawadah? Is this the spirit of an Edomite? Is this the spirit of whatever and whatnot? Now, I'll be honest. I do partially. I wouldn't put it past it that guy was actually an Edomite. Sure, maybe, but just the fact that you have this Israelite man, this Jake. I don't want to say Jake, but you have this Israelite in general that is over here saying stuff. Maybe ISUPK, maybe he is. I think basically just dismissing him and not even actually trying to see is he actually an Israelite, or he's just dismissing him. He's not even doing the due diligence to actually ask him questions, try to see like is the things that he's saying actually substantiated or any type of stuff like that. But instead he just doesn't care. He says, oh well, whatever, I don't care, I'm just gonna dismiss him. He's an Edomite. That's the end of the discussion. He has white skin, and again, that's an immature and a carnal viewpoint on things, when that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be looking at things through the spirit. We're not supposed to be looking through things through the flesh. All right. So as a result of that, you have this Israelite who does not care to actually think, am I right now? Right now, am I turning away one of the diaspora? And that's one of the things that I always think about is like, how many actual like elect are still not coming into the truth, not necessarily being turned away, but more so specifically not yet coming to the truth, because there's such a big there's a big amount of Israelites that just don't acknowledge that, oh, so-called white-looking people can be Israelites. Oh, so-called Chinese. Oh, so-called this, so-called that. I've seen so many Israelites that are so fixated on this whole skin color doctrine, this whole skin color thing, that they just don't realize that what they're doing. All right, like this is things that we have to actually take a step back. Now, also another thing I want to get is this. I actually heard about this way back when, a long time ago, that the Irish were called, I think I forgot what year, but the Irish used to be called the N-words. They used to be called I forgot what the term was. Shit, I'm trying to think. Something with the N-word, something N-word, or pale N-words or something like that. Like they used to be treated terribly. All right, so it doesn't make any sense that you have Israelites that are just going off the same exact basis as Israelites, as Edomites. All right, because Esau goes off of appearances. He doesn't go off of skin color. You have so many different stories. Okay, funnily enough, you have so many different stories of Edomites, not Edomites, people in general who are saying they saw someone doing something wrong or doing something racist, prejudice, or whatever. Okay, one Edomite doing it to a Jake, and then another Edomite saying like, okay, no, that's not right, that's not cool, that's not this. All right, and then who's to say that person that's calling the Edomite looking person that's calling out their prejudice and racism, all right, who's to say that person isn't an Israel and isn't actually an Israelite? That's why they're calling it out to begin with, because oftentimes when Edomites are doing wrong, their people always protect and defend their people and support their people in the wickedness that they're doing. Okay, so as a result of that, it's like you can't just be so dismissive and go off the exact same basis as what Esau does. So let's read this thing. It says, when Irish immigrants weren't considered white. This is history.howstuffworks.com. In the 19th century United States, racism was rampant. Chinese immigrants, that was another thing. Chinese were actually I think it was borderline slaves, if not damn near slaves. I think they were treated just like modern day so-called Mexicans. I think that was the parallel. But anyway, Chinese immigrants were openly mocked, often in unfavorable newspaper caricatures. Slovakia. Germans were stereotyped as loitering in beer halls. African American were portrayed in demeaning advertisements, and Irish people who were not considered white by actually I did hear something about the Germans, Slovakia, but whatever. Oh yeah. Oh, it was this here, swarthy. Yeah, okay, yeah, so here, this was the thing. Ben Franklin has this infamous quote regarding German immigrants not being able to assimilate. Hold on, let me show you what the definition of swarthy is. Dark skin. So now you have Germans all right, who are also considered, who are also being called, spoken down on. All right, because again, we have the association that, oh, it's in Europe, all the European nations are Edomites, when actually that's not true, because way back when Israelites used to rule there. Okay, I think it's the Moors or something like that. I don't remember, but so you have these things there that are present, where we have the Irish, we have the Germans, and we have the Swedes, and Benjamin Franklin called them. Let's find the thing. Over here, are generally what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also, and Saxons only accepted, who with the English, I will basically get the point, so hold on. And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion. So, and Germans also. So Germans, Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes. All right. So there, you have these group of people where there is, again, it's not 100%, but there are a group of people, okay, in these nations that were born there and were actually dark skinned. And that's the thing that people get things twisted. They just heavily associate Europe with Edomite. They heavily associate Europe with white skin or Caucasian, when that's not the case, because that's not what that was not always what was there. That's what it's there now, but it's not the norm. All right. So yes, this is something that something to take note of, especially when you're talking to people. Even though a lot of our people don't like Edomites, they might have a disdain for them, which is fine. Of course, I don't have an issue with that. I'm not telling you not to dislike or to love them, okay? Because the Lord hates Esau, as it says in Romans, I think chapter 12 to 14 or something. So it's natural for you to not like your enemy / the target of YAHAWASHI's hatred as well. So but with that being said, it doesn't mean that you just say you hate you. That doesn't mean you just hate anyone based off their appearance. You should hate them based off the actions that they did, the spirit that they're in. All right. So yes, Slakia, a little bit of a history lesson for you, Slakia. So let's continue on. And Irish people who were not considered white by the existing majority at the time were mistreated too. So yeah, even in 19th century America, you have Chinese, Germans, us obviously, like I didn't need to tell you that, and then the Irish. All right, they arrived poor, blah blah. Just want to get to the point, Slocky. Bear with me. Or whatever. That's basically it. So yeah, basically you can't just say that this person is an Edomite just based on how he looks. It is unspiritual. It's not. It goes against the doctrine. It goes against what we are, because we are. And let's get that actually. Romans chapter 8 verse 16, the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh. Okay, so we're not over here saying, oh yeah, we're an Israelite because of our dark skin color, which so many people accuse us of saying that we are Israelites based off of our appearance, based off of our melanin, stuff like that. That's not, that couldn't be further from the truth. We're not Israelite. While it is important to know that Yahawashi, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, okay, it was a dark-skinned man and had melanin, that does not mean that melanin is what makes him Yahawashi, or melanin is what makes us Israelites. Okay, that's not the case. Okay, there can be an Edomite. It's like this can be an Israelite that looks like an Edomite. All right, there can be an Israelite that looks like a so-called Moabite or a Chinese or Japanese or whatever, any race. Okay, and that's the thing. I wish I could just show you a bunch of images, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to use the same thing. If you look up Blake Griffin's father and Blake Griffin's son and Blake Griffin himself, Blake Griffin's father looks like a so-called dark-skinned so-called black man, and then his son looks like just a straight-up Edomite. Blake Griffin, I think, got married to a so-called white woman, and then of course, as a result of that, with Blake Griffin looking how he looks, his kid turned out so white looking. All right, so naturally you're gonna come to this conclusion like, okay, well, is this kid white or is this kid black? Like, these are the things you have to actually ask yourself, because everybody considers Blake Griffin so-called black people a black person, and also people consider Tracy Ellis Ross incorrectly. It's already, see, this is already there because I always search this up. Everyone considers her a so-called black woman because of her dark skin, but in actuality she's not. If you look at her father, her father married, or I don't know if he married, but maybe married a so-called black woman, or had a kid with a so-called black woman, and this was the result. Okay, so let's get that. As a matter of fact, Numbers chapter 1 verse 18, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upwards, by their polls. Basically, you are basically what your father is. Your pedigree is determined by the house of your father, meaning that on your father's side is what ethnicity you are, what tribe you are, what everything. Okay, so as a result of that, someone like Tracy Ellis Ross, she is not an Israelite, whereas someone like Blake Griffin, being lighter skinned than her, is an Israelite, but she is not. But yet you still have her consistently considered an Israelite, or not an Israelite, but more a so-called black woman, as well as Tiffany Haddish. Also, I think I remember hearing her say that her father was so-called J-ish. I don't remember the details on it, but yeah, you have these different people that are considered that have these different considerations, but without actually checking their father's bloodline. So with that, praise was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rakwakwadah, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Mill, Son of Ball, and Shalom.